Welcome to Across the Desk and our new series in partnership with Maddie Dever, the Autistic Rambler. Maddie is a non-binary autistic advocate engaged in political advocacy, a parent of 5, and a very funny person. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about, and we look forward to you joining the conversation. Now let's get to rambling. Good morning and welcome to Across the Desk. And once again, we begin with the fantastical stylings of the ever-loving Maddie Dever.
I'm already keyed in today.
Oh, it's okay. Sweetie,
this may be a
is it going to be the whole...
Well, I don't know. I just
palooza?
started. I'm a quarter into the coffee, so... And you know what? I have my
magic Kofifi juice?
Yes. Now let me tell you a story about this.
Let me tell y'all a story about a man named Jed. Was so poor, barely kept his family fed.
Okay. Oh, is this the Beverly Hills?
Well done. I feel like the tiara should come back out today. I feel like I feel like that might be a thing. We'll see. We'll see. If you're watching the video, there's a story behind my tiara, and it's nothing to do with me thinking I'm all that, but it is kind of funny.
Nothing really, but there is a tad to it, because if you didn't feel partially that way, you wouldn't wear it at all. Yeah.
Oh, I have owned tiaras. I have owned the wearing of a tiara since a very young age. It has never occurred to me not to put a tiara on, because I'm like, oh hell yeah, I can rock that.
Okay. Like, that's my youngest daughter, Kat. Tiaras and her, and
friends.
She's the ultimate cuteness as well as regal at times. Yeah.
Well, okay. So, being the paw, I mean, you are impartial. Oh.
I'm impartial.
You're impartial. However, having seen your adorable children, I would agree.
So does
mine was more about attitude than the look. I'd be like, give me the freaking tiara. I rock that shit.
Yeah. Matlin and rocks the tiara with the attitude. Yeah, she
that's another thing.
My oldest has got her own dog. I'm gonna put the tumbler down, then we'll get to the story about the tumbler. Because I just can't hold it up.
Because we also have a podcast to do.
Oh, podcast. That's right.
When I say good morning, welcome to Across the Desk, we have a topic for today. It does sort of relate to tiaras.
Okay. All right.
Loosely. And it absolutely relates to control. 160%. And it actually does relate to coffee juice.
Okay. Since I've moved upstairs to my new abode, I have not got my digit bunny that reminds me that we go in rabbit holes.
Well,
so
I think that's what the tiaras. Oh, here we go. Hang on, I got one. So if we're going off on a unicorn, she'll come up and give. It's actually a stress toy. But she's too little. I need a bigger stress toy.
Unicorn.
So what we're on about today, and it's a little bit of a windy bendy way, and Mrs. D is in their happy juice. So we got on to a discussion. And so every week, Maddie and I meet and we have a little chit-chat-hooey about what are we going to talk about on Fridays. And we have a calendar and we have topics, but sometimes things, just like our grief one kind of hijacked some other stuff, but good things come out of it. Somehow, out of our last discussion, the topic of hygiene, personal appearance, and how we show up in the world came up. And so we went down a bit of it, and it seemed to make sense, because part of what I do is connected to autism and employment and teaching certain skills and bringing realizations and reality to individuals about job expectations and all kinds of other stuff. And we were talking about our videos, which we have taken many. And Maddie did not feel comfortable because there was a beard going on. And I completely respect that. And what I will share is that growing up, I had horribly bad acne, and it was, I couldn't make it go away. I couldn't change it. I tried everything. It was like having somebody else's face on my face, and not one that I chose. And I think that's where you and I kind of bonded over how acne made me feel and how facial hair can make you feel. And that got us into the whole hygiene thing. But you said something really smart, which you do very, 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 very often. And it was about, and it's escaped me, and I wrote it down and I'll have to find it, but it was about like community expectation and outward
Yeah.
expectation. And
Yeah. So yeah, I'll have to remember what I said, but it's basically,
I'll find
I
it.
mean, we have this struggle over how we feel about ourselves, recognizing what we're not feeling, on top of meeting the expectations of people that we meet in the community, and those three things do not align for
Yes.
most autistics, and we have to find the way to bring some alignment in there, because yeah, like there are some hygiene issues that are absolutely required as human beings
I'm
in
going to
order
take
to
off the
keep
tiara.
healthy. All right.
Sorry, I feel like it's distracting from the seriousness of the topic.
Okay. Seriousness on the everything's serious and everything's got humor right underneath it. That's the way I survive. It's the
Okay.
way. But anyways, like there are some absolute things that for the health of our bodies we need to do.
Yep.
But as young autistics and sometimes older, we may not feel that. We may not understand that, and we may not we because, and I'm going to bridge in the other thing, because there's a lot of community expectations, whether it's in school, whether it's in work, whether it's in the family, those things, those rules behind that may not make any sense to us. You add that to our body, which we may not sense fully, and you've got confusions. Like what in us is required and what in us is optional.
Mm.
What are the optional things?
So some of the things
And
we're
it's
talking about, just to give context, what we're
yeah.
talking about is managing reasonable hygiene expectations. We're talking about awareness of the fact that if you don't shower for a month, you're going to have a bit of a funk. And plus, and Maddie made this point, it's not about judging, it's not about anything like that. It's about safety. And when you don't shower for a month, that can create some pretty serious health issues, and it can keep some health issues hidden that you might not be aware of, especially if you're a
Yeah.
diabetic, especially if you have a desensitization to pain. There are individuals who do not feel if they are cut. And that's an everybody potential issue. So, and there's other things that can happen that, you just need to be aware of. And so we went a little back and forth, but to your other point, Maddie, which I think you were going to bridge to, is that sometimes around hygiene and personal appearance, it's not just about, funk and community expectations. It's about what makes you comfortable living in your skin. And that's where the facial hair conversation came in.
Yeah.
So, right, like I'm not a fan of having facial hair. I don't like it on me. What? I don't like it.
Well, really, yeah.
I was not a fan when that showed up. I was like, wait a minute. What now?
Yeah. I mean, the interesting for me, it's been really it's been a long journey of understanding my body and my identity and who I am.
Yep.
And when I was, I started shaving at 11, and at 12 I would have to shave twice a day because I would get 5 o'clock shadow at noon if I wanted to go out and to do anything. you know 14 and a half is when I started having the beard. And
That's crazy.
and the interesting thing about it was it made me look a decade and a half older. People in high school, I'm in grade 11, but I'm in grade 10, and people think I'm a teacher. And so there was a a neat little plus to that. And also I didn't have to shave every freaking day, which was just like awesome, because
Well,
it's
plus
it's
you
a
have a gorge, I have to say. Like, I mean, you're a pretty awesome looking individual no matter what. You're one of those individuals, though, that if you chose to rock a beard,
mhm.
it really does
I
suit
do it.
you. Like it's
it does.
crazy
Yes.
how nice
Yeah.
it looks on you. And there's not a lot of men that can, or sorry, individuals that can claim that. People of
Yeah.
the beard persuasion.
Yes.
So you're
Yes.
fortunate in
Yeah.
that capacity, right? That you can,
Yeah.
if you choose to. However, there's a seriousness below that.
Yeah.
You choose
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
to.
It's a mask. It's a mask that I wore that I was comfortable with because I really, I really did not understand or okay, so I spent 20 years in and out of really strong fundamental Christian places. And a lot of, when you're in these kind of things, the there's a common understanding expectation of men and women, and you sort of have to go with it even if you're not quite comfortable with it,
Yeah.
so you end up doubling down. And I experienced that a bit, and when I came out of it, when I was really starting to like feel free just to like really explore who I was, really explore, trying to come up with a label to describe how I felt, because I think I've said before in a thing, I've never felt male. I've never I've had to be a male because that's what the world expected, but I never felt a male. And I can go back all the way to 3 and 4 years old, and
You
the
knew.
thinking is thing. Oh yeah, I knew. I just didn't know how to express it. And it wasn't, and I got bullied a lot because of accidental expression of it. Or incidental expression, not accidental, incidental expression of this dual nature that I've come to now, ascribe to non-binary. I mean, to be honest, the best term I've ever come up with is the indigenous term two spirit. But I'm going to
Okay.
keep a
I have a question.
okay. So we're yes, hello.
Hello. So,
Yes,
yeah,
it's time now to answer questions.
smart ass. So, here's my thinking. So, Jonathan Van Ness, who I just think is the biscuit, and he's part of the Queer Eye team. What I love about how Jonathan presents to the world is that they have multi pronouns. They do not subscribe to any. So if I go in between pronouns, it's because Jonathan has said they will take they, he, she, like they're open to however they're expressing themselves that day. And they have never been in a situation where they have felt they needed to remove their beard and not rock a gown or a kiss curl or a whatever. So, is there a way to feel comfortable and to remove society's expectation that somebody who identifies more towards female, but honestly, you look stunning because of the way the gray is in there and the way, like, seriously, with a little, oh, you could do one of those handles. Anyway, is there a way to remove?
I've done Movember several times. I can rock any kind of mustache. I can rock the mustache. I can rock sideburns. I can rock a goatee. I've done it all.
You've just got that
Yeah. So
beautiful face that can do it. I could just see you
I
with one
know.
of those, one of the ones where it has the little the wax on the end.
Okay.
Oh,
So there's two reasons why, okay, 2 years ago I decided I needed to I, I'm out non-binary, but I really need to feel. I need to feel it. I need to see it when I look in the mirror, right?
that's
And
totally
there's
understand that.
there because there like, honestly, for the last 30 some years, there's only two aspects of my body's presentation that is male that I have appreciated. The first one is my voice.
Yeah.
The second one was the beard, but the beard became less and less. It became a
It became a
okay, so let me
reminder
just
of
step back.
what
So
you
so I
that you don't
realized so
have.
I
Yeah.
had control over my hair.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I decided to go long. A, to see if I could do it, B, to see what it looked like, and see if it would help me internally as well as externally. People, here's the thing. People always start with the pronoun and the title that they think they see in front of them.
Yes, very
And
true.
this is where it becomes really hard, because if I'm feeling non-binary and femme, and I'm called sir, sir, Mr., sir, all the time, it becomes harder and harder because it's it's your either constantly correction or you're just like ignoring it and moving
Just bow
on.
down.
But it really it's harder. But the times, the more I've been finding that um I I'm well shaved, and I have my long hair, and I'm wearing some of my fluffy sweaters. I there many times there's a she first, and it's like because
Got
the
it.
external presentation is beginning to somewhat, it's being somewhat elusive. So the fact that if I'm getting she, he, he, I'm either going to break out laughing or or it's really like there's
It's just
I have
validation that what
felt,
you're doing is
yes,
starting to
yeah,
match your insides and your
yeah,
outsides. Gotcha.
yeah, and
Oh,
so it's okay. Go ahead. No, go ahead. You got
what
a
if?
thought.
I
Uh-huh.
do? Because what if? Because I also know mobility and dexterity and the stress of it
Oh yeah,
is a pain in the tush,
yeah.
right? So let's
I
recognize
want
the
to wax
fact that
on, wax off.
I can't, laser man, that's the way to go. So
Pew 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 pew.
like Jack from The Incredibles.
Yeah, but you can also portal out of there, so that's even greater.
Or turn into a ball of lead. That's true.
Or
No, my
fire.
thought process is so
Okay.
if you've listened to some of our other podcasts, to disclose, Maddie has been through multiple situations that have impacted their ability to be mobile, have impacted their finger dexterity, fine motor skills, things like that. So hygiene and shaving is a multifactorial thing because it has to factor in what Maddie can handle energy wise, what Maddie can handle dexterity wise, and what Maddie can handle, just physically being able to do. So my thought process was is there a medium? I'm not trying to force you into this by any stretch of the imagination. I love your face no matter how it is. And I love the fact that you are pursuing what feels good for you.
Mm-hmm.
But what came up for me was what if you buy that hair dye stuff and like the white parts are pink? I'm
Yeah,
just putting it out there. Pink or purple,
that's
because
funny.
purple's more your color, but
Well,
that would
actually,
be
pink is number one, purple's number two. I love a good violet. Um, yeah, and all
wouldn't
the other
that be
hues.
like super amazing to have that going on? I mean, that would be
Yeah,
huzzah.
I mean, yeah, I've also thought many times of dyeing dyeing my hair. When I had shorter hair, I was like thinking like a silvery blue highlight stuff would be really cool because I'm already going white, so just making it
Oh, honey, you are
darken with
nowhere
the.
close to white. Nowhere like to do
I
your
know,
hair in that
silver,
color.
not white. I know,
No, I know.
I know, which is why I've never done it. It's just
Yeah,
like it was like trying to think. Then I realized I can go long instead of
yeah.
changing the color of my hair.
It's
I
grown
mean,
incredibly
I watch.
quickly.
Oh my gosh, it is just so long and thick. It's yeah.
But that makes you feel good,
I
right? And that
oh
goes
yeah,
back to
it
the
does.
whole
Yeah.
hygiene. You made a really
I
valid point to tie this to hygiene.
I okay,
Well, that's
sure.
a teeny
I'll just
weeny
say that.
brush for that much hair.
Oh, I know, but it feels good. And I realized that if I had this when I was younger, this would have been one of my
Jim's.
what, yeah, I love it.
Okay. You give me so many good ideas.
But
Okay.
it is hard because of my hand, but it's like I'll take the pain because the feeling in the hair is something else. Okay, it
Oh,
brings
I
us.
have
Go
something I'm
on.
going to send you, and it has not, oh, it's going to make your world a happy place. So, what we're talking about is a combination of external expression and what feels comfortable in your skin. And you made a really valid point that somebody has a real struggle with the feeling of a shower and
Mm.
that physically feels not great against their skin and their person and whatever. There's a multitude of reasons. And I've discussed this at length with Paulette, who's my business partner. And she's my friend too. I say business partner just to give context, but just to be clear, I really like her as well. And I've had a family friend whose son really struggled with hygiene, but it got to the point, again, from a safety issue and from a funk perspective, where the father had to physically like 2-arm Heidi haul him into the shower and stand in there just to get at least one layer of grot off the kid. So, but that's a really important thing to consider, is that also like the smell of shower gels and the smell of soaps
Oh God, yeah.
and the
Yeah.
feeling of washcloths and those scrubby things, which I don't use anymore, and all those kinds of things. Please don't assume that somebody's not taking care of hygiene simply out of obstinance or unawareness. It could cause them physical and mental pain or discomfort
Yeah.
because they haven't found the right stuff for them. And that
Yeah.
could be that they, whatever gel or soap or whatever, just like hurts the skin.
Yeah.
And the
Sensory
washcloth might
challenges.
be,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, like, so many times, autistics like don't do something that you think that they should do, that maybe they've done in the past, but there's a block. And
It's not obstinance.
the
There's a reason for
yeah,
that.
exactly. Like almost in every situation, no, in every situation that an autistic doesn't do something, or they're shut down, or they melt
Yeah.
down, or they break down, there is a reason. And in most cases, the issue is something to do with sensory, something like a sensory memory, a sensory thing, or
Yeah.
confusion. You know, going into the shower. Okay, there's two sort of things that happen.
Yeah.
One, kids who love baths or showers, you can't get them in there, even though they love it. But it's like, they're doing everything to avoid it, or they're just not moving, or they look like they've never liked it before, but that they have.
Yeah.
It's one of the things we call autistic inertia. Sometimes it's hard to stop the thing that we're doing to do the next thing, even if the next thing is the most
Oh,
wonderful thing in the world.
never thought about it
And
that way.
yeah, yeah. So finding the way to sort of uh bridge in between, like the transition. We talk about it as transition times. Well, there's something really behind it, and it's not about transitions per se. It's about stopping and then starting the next new thing, because sometimes it's
Which is a
because
transition
like
then.
we know what we're doing now, and we know, but we're not sure if it's going to work the way that we expect it to the next thing we do. And that's why you sort of need a lot of patience. Like it's like, and parents, like I know from a fact, like
So here's a question.
you're scurrying around,
Yeah.
trying to figure out, like, you need to get the kid into the bath. They love the bath. Like, what the heck is going on? And you're stressed, and that stress that you're having actually sort of adds on to their stress. It's like
Because you
calming
didn't make a
down,
routine around it
patience.
either.
Yes, that's
We
usually
had a
I was going to
very
get to that.
strict, so unbeknownst to me, so my son was not diagnosed until 7. Like we knew shit was a little sideways when he was about 2 or 3. But only because somebody brought it to our attention. I just thought some of the stuff he was doing was really cool. I was like, yay. Yeah. It wasn't until
Yes.
somebody said, so by the way, that's a repetitive, or whatever. And I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, well, you're making a big deal out of not much. So, but we had a very strict bedtime routine, and Thomas
Mhm.
always knew what to expect. They always,
Yeah.
both my kids always knew it was bath, book, bottle, bed,
Yeah.
in that
Five
order
B's.
every time. They
4 B's.
always knew that, bath time, and we made it fun, obviously. And Thomas had extremely sensitive skin when he was a baby, up until about 3.5. So we put a chlorine filter on the shower head. We bought very clean, low scent bath product
Mhm.
to treat his eczema, because
Mhm.
that was a whole other. And so we've continued that. And he dictates what product. I mean, he's 24 now. So
Yeah.
he's never had his aversions have always been sound based, not as much smell
Yeah.
based. So we've been
Same.
fortunate in that capacity. And because of his eczema, we always had 100% cotton clothing on him. And we're going to bring that back to hygiene for a second, folks,
Mhm.
because a lot of the clothing out there right now is unfortunately a blend of synthetics like polyester and elastane and
Mhm.
whatever, not a lot of cotton if you're not paying attention. Those synthetic fibers trap and create more odor, and more sweat and more everything, because that's what they're built to do. So if you are struggling with the sensory parts of hygiene, one simple thing to look for, and I do a lot of thrift shopping. So if you're a thrifter, there's a way to do it. There's certain stores that lean towards it. Try and look for cotton clothing, or at least cotton blend, because that breathes and that doesn't trap and create as much sweat, doesn't contribute to as much odor. A lot of I see a lot of little kids' pajamas, for an example, that have the cute Disney whatevers. 100% polyester with a flammable label on them. And I'm like, when my kids were little, and I'm like, if your pajamas come with a flammable label, I am not putting them on my child because it's just
the
weird.
the first thing I would have done as a kid is rip off that flammable label. I hate labels.
So we've been really fortunate that he's not had those kinds of things as far as we're aware anyway. I mean, I don't think anybody's a fan of tags. That's the thing. And they used to be really freaking scratchy.
Oh, they were awful. Now I really love the fact that in this day and age,
they print them on
the imprint them. Yeah, it's imprinted, so it's not actually sticking out. Because honestly, that was one of my back, 30, 40 some years ago. Oh, gosh, turning 47 next month. I know, eh? But my mom, I would wear clothes out really quickly, and I think part of it is I would like rip out the tag. If there was any little piece of string, I'd just yank at it. I hated things touching me. I was okay with constant things, like so wearing a shirt, wearing a sweater, having a blanket, but anything that was like loose and stringy, and it would just dry, and it's still to this day drives me crazy. But I would rip it, so I'd end up with a hole. And when you have a hole in something and you move around, the hole gets bigger. And I don't know how many times
physics being what physics is.
Exactly. One thing I wanted to mention is back to the shower, back to the bathtub. We talked about the autistic inertia, but there can be another reason why autistic kids get aversions to things that they previously liked before. So let me give you an example. Let's just suppose you are in a shower and you love the shower, and you can spend hours in the shower, and all of a sudden a big burst of hot came out and burnt you really badly. But that undoes a lot of the things you liked before, and it might be hard to consciously state that if the parent didn't see it, then the next time that the kid just really doesn't want it to be near the shower, and the whole routine gets messed up, and then you think there's just a behavior, you think there's obstinance, you think like whatever's going on, but it could be something, a sensory experience that was off one time undoes the desire of that, and it really takes a lot of patience to sort of piece that through. But that's the thing. We're talking to parents, we're talking to autistics. If you're seeing in yourself or your kids something that you used to like but you don't like now, and sometimes think back, was there a sensory experience,
what was the catalyst
that was different? What was the catalyst? And it's really important. Like so much of the things that drive us towards something and drive us away something
sensory
is a sensory experience, right?
Can I ask you a question?
It's absolutely.
I know I'm interrupting, but it's your fault because you make me think. Because you got
I ramble on, so it's okay. Yeah.
Well, no, but in a very good way, because I think I did things with Thomas and I didn't think of it as unique, right? I just thought all parents would pay their kids the courtesy of seeing if they like the smell of the soap, seeing if they like how does this feel on your skin and whatever. And if you go ahead, if everything's been going along tickety boo and you've been using, we used, what did we use? It was a really good line when he was a baby. We never used, so by the way, folks, Johnson & Johnson products, don't do it. Full of harsh chemicals and whatever.
I think it's why I hate it now. Yeah.
Yeah, it just hurts, right? So we never used that. We used always like Live Clean or Jason or Don't Be Dirty, but like Canadian Beaver or whatever. I know you're trying so hard and I
I
appreciate that.
wouldn't have if you hadn't said it.
Well, I mean, Green Beaver. Like, I don't know who their
I
marketing
know.
person was, but dude, that's like the Incredible Hulk in some kind of porn movie.
That's and the question is, how many nickels does it take to buy it?
No, that didn't go.
Nickel on the beaver.
I know, I get.
Okay. All right.
So stopping to think about some of the stuff that you bring into the shower can be, even your own
Mhm.
product has a
Yeah.
residual smell. So
Yeah.
be considerate of the fact that I would have to say, you can raise your hand, although we can't see you. How many sniff the shampoo before they buy it? How many sniff?
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
you're going to have to live with that smell. Why aren't you giving your kids, and if you are, thank you. Why aren't you giving? So I would take my son to the store and like give that
Mhm.
a little whiff. Is that okay for you? Kind of thing. Or
Yeah.
I would bring it home and I'm saying, we're trying this. I would explain,
Mhm.
I'm changing the soap. This is why. Tell me if you don't like the smell, because that's fine. Because every adult
Yeah.
I know, everybody I know, always smells. I buy
Mhm.
shampoo sometimes strictly based on this. I just bought a really
Well,
expensive shampoo because it just
I
smells amazing.
I do as well. I mean, I have the two things that the two senses that I think are most prescient in the how it affects
Psyche.
me
Mm.
in the extremes is sound and smell. Um, and so for most of my life until 2015, I had almost no sense of smell. But there was something. Okay, I couldn't smell 98% of things, but I could smell the 2% of things that nobody else could, and they would really bother me. And so the smell of soaps is one of those things.
That
And I
you
got to the
can or
point where I
cannot.
realized that I could.
Okay.
So um, they would really bother me. Chemical smells is what I could smell, and some people just like they were like not attuned to it at all. They didn't bother them, but for me, it was significant. And so what I have found, and I'm really glad that this is the case, is like for dish soap, which is
Mhm.
different from the body soap. Like what I can handle on my hands and what I can handle on my body and hair, totally different things. But apple, apple
See, I don't like that
lemon
smell.
maybe, but I know a lot of people don't. But for me, it's the only thing that we can use because I cannot handle the smell of all the other stuff. Now and in the 6 years since then, I had surgery to correct a 97% deviated septum, and all of a sudden I can smell everything to the extreme.
Except you were probably better off the other way.
Yes, actually, I sometimes wonder. I mean, I breathe better, so that's a plus. But I now smell in three dimensions. I honestly can smell where things are, and it's just so freaking weird.
No,
I
because
remember the first.
I can smell. So yes,
I'm not
and
saying it's unique. I'm saying it's weird for me because I've never smelled anything.
it's uncomfortable. I remember, so when Paulette and I came and met you in Toronto, didn't even think about it because to us it doesn't smell bad. And I have a hand sanitizer.
Oh
This was
God.
this I know, and this was in the middle of COVID. And
Oh.
I know, and we said sorry many times.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
Sage makes this moisturizing hands because our hands were getting like we were
Mhm.
sanitizing constantly, right? So hands were getting chapped and
Your hands were becoming sandpaper without any use of them.
we
Yeah.
needed something, right? So this Sage product, which I, for the most part, I mean, I would never ever take you into Sage because that would just set you off. But they have a hand sanitizer that has
Yes.
a
Body
very,
Works is the bad
oh,
place for
that would
me.
just
Yeah.
make
Oh
anybody
my
crazy,
God.
right? So we did that
I have to.
at the
Yeah.
table
Yeah.
without thinking because we were more focused on safety and masking and protecting Maddie and their immune system and what have you. But then the smell hit Maddie
Oh
and
God.
we were like, what did we do? And they had to go because we drove them away with our hand sanitizer, which was not funny,
Yeah. Yeah. No, a
but it's
hand
those types of
sanitizer.
things.
Oh my God. Yeah. There's so many things that autistics we feel our senses are heightened or lessened They're almost to a T. It's almost part of the diagnosis. I mean, people like in the DSM, the diagnostic manual that's talks about all the deficits, all the things that are wrong with autistics. We really need to work
It
on
just
a positive way to it.
it points
Yeah.
out some of the things to
Yes.
be aware of so that we are respectful of individuals' experiences
Yeah.
on the autism
Oh,
spectrum.
yeah. I'm working on pushing a strength-based version of it with a lot of really key people in the world of autism. But anyway, so one of the things that people don't seem to remember or get, and I'm talking about people that are doing the diagnosis, they're so focused on the communication, they're so focused on behaviors and repetitive things, that they forget that part of the diagnosis is also heightened or lessened sensory
Right.
challenges. And uh and sometimes people think, are they autistic? And and because they're a little bit of lining things up, but they don't really have outward behaviors. But if you start asking them questions about their sensory environment, all of a sudden you see these things that they can and can't do, and
Trends.
how they get erupted and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, it's like you've just basically, you've opened up the other parts of the criteria, and you've definitely talked on sensory. And like sensory, communications and sensory challenges tend to create the outward
The
behaviors
community
and
problems.
challenges that we normally that are more visible part of autism. And when we address those things, and
We
when we
acknowledge
teach
those things. You
autistics,
can't
yeah,
necessarily, we need to
well,
address
addressing is
them.
acknowledging it.
Yeah,
Yes,
we need
yeah,
to acknowledge
yeah.
it. So to your point though, when we go back to hygiene and
I was about to.
were you coming? Because I sometimes
Yeah, I
it gets a little
was.
circuitous, which I respect because I do the same thing.
I know.
But I know, not judging, acknowledging, onboarding. If you have a lack of awareness, so if your senses are dampened in some capacity, then you ain't catching the pit whiff. Like you just aren't.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not
that's
aware. You're not aware.
exactly.
It's not ignorance. You're
Yeah,
literally not aware.
yeah. And bringing it back, like the three things that we talk about, like there's the hygiene stuff. Like there's the hygiene that we have to do for the sake of the health of our body. There's the hygiene that
Brush your dang
are
teeth.
the social things that are expected, and then there's the understanding of our body that makes
Yep.
that harder. So we don't know whether something is a societal rule or a human health
Okay.
rule. And if it's a human health rule, then we
I
need
have a question.
help to feel it, understand it, and come to terms with. Yes, I'll to the student at the back. Yes, with their hand up. Go ahead.
So it's smart ass. Okay. I love what you're saying right now. I've got the unicorn clutched, but this is not because I'm just fiddling. Is this where, to tie back to routine, if that understanding is created? So for an example, out of all the hygiene issues that I personally struggle when people don't do, brushing the teeth is the big one. Because if you are going to focus on any hygiene issue that you are struggling with right now, you just started running your tongue across your teeth.
I did. Wow, I thought I
You
just
did. You're
did
like,
subtly.
are they clean? I think they did it.
You triggered, like, I just instantaneously did that. It
Yes.
just, yeah.
But in all seriousness, folks, what they're showing now in a variety of studies is that dental hygiene is tied to so many other health issues in a very negative way, can contribute to heart disease, can contribute to whatever. It also contributes to anxiety and self-esteem, in that the first thing you do when you meet somebody is smile. And if your first instinct is to cover your teeth or not smile or what have you, and we're not asking you to smile if you don't feel like it. I'm not in any way advocating for changing of behavior if it doesn't come naturally to you, but there is going to be a time where you open your mouth. And if your teeth are caked in shit and corruption and tartar, or just look in a huge, bad state of repair or what have you, I really don't give a crap what community thinks, but I really give a crap about how that affects individuals and how that could be negatively impacting mental health, negatively impacting physical health,
And yeah,
and contributing to future demise of other parts of your
yeah.
anatomy. So if the only thing you can get to, if everything else is too much on an everyday basis, which I respect,
Mhm,
if you can find a toothbrush that works for you, because I'm recognizing that there's sensory issues around that.
mhm,
I hear you, but we got to
yeah.
find something. If you can afford a water pick, if the brushes are too much, but you can get a water pick and you can handle the water doing the work for you, huzzah. If you
Mhm,
need a really soft brush, they are out there. Any effort that you make is better than ignoring it completely because you can't find a solution. You have to be persistent in all of these
mhm,
issues to find what works for you. When that comes down to what shampoo doesn't hurt your head and make your hair feel terrible,
mhm.
what smell you can handle in the shower around, because there's tons of unscented options for body soaps and
Low
gels.
scent,
What's that?
low scent. There's no such thing as unscented. Every single thing in the universe has a scent, but most
Valid.
people
There's
don't
no
recognize it.
added scent to make it smell
Okay.
all flowery and pretty. There is whatever scent it was born with, but there's
Hmm.
not a scent added to it. Um, you have to make effort on this. You have to ask for help on this. If you are
Yeah.
struggling with finding product that works for
Hmm.
issues, there are some products that can do for, and I hate to be sexist, but it does work better for males than females. The all-in-one, like my husband, bless his heart, uses his bar of soap for
Oh my God.
everything because he doesn't have a lot of
Yeah.
hair, right? So he doesn't care. He's like lathers up, does his thing, and that one bar of soap takes care of it all.
Hair today, goon tomorrow.
Well, he's got a little solar panel going on there and what have you. So, like, no judgment. He's clean. Like, I don't care.
Uh-huh.
But there is much more awareness now around the impact of scent and the chemicals
Yeah.
that go into what clean us, clean our clothes, clean our house.
Hmm.
Ignoring it and saying there's nothing out there for me is bullshit. There is.
Yeah. It's so one of the things when it comes to teeth and dentists and all that stuff, it is one of the most like it's one of the largest sensory challenges that autistics face. I know my kids, I know my siblings, I know like other parents I've talked about their kids. And one of the neat things that I've gotten to be part of, first of all, the dentist that I have and my kids have is so autistic friendly. It like we have like there's prep time. There's when we're anytime we're having issues, she tries a different way. Sometimes she lets us hold her with her so that we're in like there's just so many ways that she's so conscious of the challenges that we're facing that she meets like head on those things
Where it's
so that we
safe.
can do it.
Yeah, where it's
Now,
safe.
one of the neat things I've been able to do this year is I was brought in to um, uh, um, review a whole neurodiversity training for dentists and dental assistants in BC, so that it's just positive. It's it's strengths based, even for addressing some of the more intensive challenges that autistics more intensive challenges. It was amazing, and I really wish that they once they get this and they pilot and they go with it that they share it with dental associations all across Canada.
Well, let
It
me know. We're
really
happy to
like
help
head
figure that out.
on all of the issues that we face.
Yeah.
Sometimes never just take a kid to a dentist's office and say, "Here you go. This is what you're going to do." I remember the first time I was brought to a dentist when I was like 5 years old, and I was like, my mom was smart to bring me ahead of time before an appointment, and we got in there, and there was this machine that sort of sucked like into your mouth, and I freaked out. I ran
The
and ran
spit
and ran
sucker.
and I hit somebody. Yeah, it was just, I've never experienced anything like that, and it was a sensory overload. Like I remember the fact that I'm remembering this so clearly at 5. Um, I mean, she did all the right things, but there was one thing too much, and I don't remember going back to the dentist for a few years after that. But going back to why I did my mouth thing, one of the biggest problems I have with my dexterity issues is brushing teeth. I physically can't hold a toothbrush. I can't manipulate my hand. And I've had a few talks with the dentist, and I'm going to go back in a month or two, and I'm going to try to get an appointment with my OT to find a way that I can be able to have my toothbrush or just have something in. But
Can you get
I know
have you seen
I
those things?
nope.
If you were somebody else that I'm close to, I would use the
I
F-bomb, but I will not do that on the air. But I can
fine. Yeah, I'm fine.
duck off. Yeah. So
Yeah.
have you seen those? So we had this with my son in that he had a fine motor, not the same, but adjacent, a fine motor issue with holding um, pencils
Yeah.
and skinny pens. And so we got
Yep.
one of those triangulators that we that we slid.
Oh, really? It's a good thing this is on video.
Right?
Nobody would get this on.
Awesome.
Nobody would get what you just did on the podcast.
That's totally fine. Anyway, finger went into a hole. So sliding the triangulator, like the grip.
Uh-huh.
So what's your like if you have to do this, what is
Can't.
how far can you go?
I can only bend my knuckles, and even then it hurts. I can't
So you
squeeze.
can't
None. There's zero
okay,
squeeze.
so what about your other hand?
It's absolutely useless. It doesn't work at all. I have my finger,
For decoration only.
my middle. It basically, I have a shift key. I can point. I can
have a
peck.
delete key.
I can peck. Exactly.
Okay.
No, the delete is on the other side. Delete.
Okay.
Delete. That's a Cyberman reference.
So this actually ties in because there could be other around a hygiene and fine. This is a fine motor skill. We don't think about it that way, but we should.
Yeah.
And if you are a parent listening and your child has multiple diagnoses, like my little gemstone did, then you're teaching them the hygiene issues, right? Because this all begins in childhood. This is where we put forward and we say, hey, like we need to teach you how to brush your teeth and whatever. If you're experiencing resistance with that, it could be akin to Maddie's situation where putting all of those motions together just doesn't compute, right?
Yeah.
So much like if you are dyslexic and you're looking at a page and the words just look like a pile of spiders, for some folk, a fine motor visual integration issue, which is what my son was diagnosed with, just means his eyes can't tell his hands to replicate exactly what's going on. Like he's all good now. Like we're all past that. It was just a learning curve and whatever. But that could be going on for individuals. And if that's never been diagnosed, then or you have physical limitations like Maddie, like how do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the issue. Like so many times, some parents just accept that their kids are a particular way and they don't know that there's a challenge behind it, or there's an expectation. Like they may understand they may understand the the autistic behaviors that kids are doing, like in other places.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the hygiene issues, I find so many parents, and especially as the kids hit puberty, that they get
that's zero fun.
And when,
can I just tell you?
And
no fun.
I know I've been through it 5 times. 6 for
stop
myself.
having kids, my friend.
I think that ship has sailed to sea.
You have a full crew.
I don't know.
You could do your own boat.
I'm waiting for grandkids. Not today, but that's the next round of fun and acceptance. All right, next. Thank you. Next. I forgot what I was saying.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So the hygiene issues are probably one of the biggest areas of fighting between parents and kids in general, but parents and kids with parents and autistic kids in specific, because like parents know that these things need to be done, and it also, we parents know the societal expectations on
We
top
know
of
the
the health
consequences of them not
requirements.
getting done. Yeah.
But it's so what I think one of the first things we should do, and it's what I've had to learn how to do, is be patient, step back, pick the battle,
Pick the hill.
focus on the one thing that is most important,
Yep.
and calmly find a way of dealing with that. And and really, sometimes it's just a matter of sitting down and to yourself thinking, what is it about the hygiene that I'm expecting? What are my preconceived notions? And then figure out what of these things is health related and what of these things are societal expectations. And
Oh, it's
without
parent shame that
judging
gets
what
in the
they,
middle of that. It's
yeah,
totally
yeah,
parent
it
shame.
really is.
It's
Yeah.
totally, I am failing. It's totally, what are they going to think of me? My son
Yeah.
was absolutely
Oh my
brutal.
God.
He was great with, we had to remind him all the time to shower, but he did it,
Yeah.
no argument, never like, I got to tell you, I got to give him a shout out because I have a great kid. Like I have a great kid.
Oh.
I really do. And we forget sometimes because I get so caught up in worrying about his future and worrying about have I done the right thing and worrying about whatever that I forget just how thoughtful and caring and smart and funny and empathetic and like don't get me wrong, he's not perfect. We've had our lick of trouble and we've had some pretty serious shit go down, but he has bar none one of the biggest hearts of anybody I've ever met. And he is the most creative individual that I know. Like there's not much Thomas can't turn his hand to and be good at. He just texted me. He just won a pumpkin carving contest at Mohawk College. Like not shocked. And so parents, why I'm saying that is because to Maddie's point, we can get so caught up in the parent shame game of if they go to school dirty, if they go to school with
Yeah.
tangled hair, if they go to school and they're a
Yeah.
little bit whiffy, if they go to school or go out and they are this and that and the other, right then it is about your ego. And
Yeah.
it is about what society puts on us for what people should look like and should present and whatever. And it's also what you grew up with, right? So
Mhm.
to Maddie's point earlier, they grew up in a situation where any kind of string or tag would cause them to want it, right? So their clothes are getting
Mhm.
put through and what have you. I grew up in a house where if the sleeve of the shirt you were wearing was supposed to reach the wrist, or the hem of the pant that you were wearing was supposed to reach a certain thing, and it looked too small, or it looked, in my parents' words, tatty, or whatever, then that was a big deal. That
Yeah.
why are you wearing that? That doesn't, because that wasn't about my parents or my dad in particular caring, that this thing was too short. It was about what are other people going to think about that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the disconnect on hygiene between parents, kids, and autistics, in that
Yeah.
we, as a neurotypical parent of an atypical neurodiverse kid, I feel extra pressure
Mhm.
to make sure that I've done my job and make sure that he knows cutting the fingernails, cutting the toenails, getting the
Mhm.
dirt. I mean, because he's working in clay and all kinds of, I mean, his fingernails were just an abomination for just stressed me out. And haircuts and all kinds of things. So
Mhm.
it is a complicated game that we are playing with this. And when we
Mhm.
forget to step back from our ego and
Yeah.
remember that there are true physical challenges around smell, there is true mental health damage we are doing when we force certain things because of ego
Yeah.
versus health and safety, that
Yeah.
we need to be aware that if we change soaps or we change smells or we do whatever, that has to be in collaboration. You wouldn't want somebody walking into your shower and yanking out your favorite shampoo and just giving you shit to use and saying, sorry, hard cheese, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So why would you do that to your kid?
Yeah. And we're not judging you, by the way, but we're
A little bit.
trying to bring under okay. We're trying to bring some
But if you're
understanding
doing
of
that
why
now,
autistic. Yeah.
yeah,
If you're seeing challenges that your kids are having with hygiene,
yeah,
you know, like there it could be them, it could be the lack of understanding of rules, but it could be how you've been brought up, and and again, it's ego, it's experience. We need to understand that's why patience, it's really patience for yourself, patience for your kids.
yep.
It is, breaking it back down to the three things: knowing what's society rules, knowing what's health rules, and knowing what and understanding what our body is telling us are the three biggest
Yeah.
challenges that autistics have. So
And
we
routine.
need,
Can we add a
yeah,
fourth one in there? Because routine is something, and please
I think
correct me if I'm wrong.
routine is the circle around these.
Well, I think there are segments of the autism community who thrive in routine, and there are segments of the autism community who have a
Aversion to it.
distant relationship
Yeah.
to routine, and then
Yeah.
there are those who are averse. The thought of routine just overwhelms, and that's too much for me
Yeah.
to put in place.
Yeah.
And so if you are a parent struggling with this and you're listening and your child is at a younger age, establish the routines now. They will change just as your child will change.
Yep.
But that routine could be, I expect you to have one shower a week. That's non-negotiable. You pick the day, whatever day you want, but that day, every week, you will have a full body contact with something to do with water and soap. Now,
Yep.
if you choose to do more than that during the week, thumbs up. But the minimum expectation is that let's agree on the day, you will go into the shower and I will not have to fight with you about that.
Yeah. Yeah. This is my autistic parenting theory. And that's how I practice it, is that I need to create the boundaries that are the things that are the absolute
Reasonable
things, reason, that we can't, you must do that, or we can't not do that. Oh God, double negative. So, but I let the
But I know what you
kids
mean.
decide. I let the kids decide and control the things inside of that box. And
Yep.
by doing that, I'm letting them,
Autonomy,
I'm teaching autonomy, agency, independence,
advocacy.
but they also know that, like, they can't go past that boundary. Like the thing that where I hold the line is important. And by the fact that I really don't, like, I support them in anything in the middle, but I really let them do it, so that one of the biggest problems that autistics have is that so much of their life is out of control. So if you can give them areas that they can control, that they're not going to get in trouble for it, my God, they're not going to try to take control of things that they shouldn't or can't.
That's profound.
I realized that about 6 years ago, and I sometimes, like, if I'm getting a lot of stress, like, do I have to? Did I put a boundary over the kids that shouldn't be there? Do I need it? Can I again, patient, step back, look at it? Is it me? Did I create this artificial barrier? Do I need to extend it to something that is real? And the other thing I've talked with my kids, and I've tried to express this, like, since they're young, I'm going to tell you what to do, and I'm okay with you arguing with me,
Negotiating.
negotiate, like, as long as you express why you're feeling about something, I'm going to listen. I'm not going to, if you if you don't talk to me, and you're expressing attitude, I'm going to double down.
If you're just
But
being an asshole,
yeah, exactly, because
I'm gonna whoop
autistic
your
be
ass.
assholes just like anybody else. It's a human trait, not a neurotypical trait.
It's
Although,
true. But you know what? When my kids were little, so I grew up in a house, and I love my parents. I'm not being a poor me, whatever. But
yeah, different
I got
generation.
told what to do. You
Yeah.
did not ask why. I would get in trouble. I would not completely understand why sometimes.
Mhm.
And that could either be a clip in the back of the head or like whatever. The reaction, invariably more my mom than my dad, was a little disproportionate to what I perceived as the offense. But there was
Uh-huh.
never any discussion. It was an absolute, you were
Yeah.
wrong, you were stupid, you were this, you were that, you were that, right. So I decided that that's not how I was going to do things with my kids. And
Mhm.
there was always a conversation around behavior, and
Yeah.
never good or bad, ever. They
Mhm.
never got
Yeah.
told they were bad kids. What they
Yeah.
got told was that a good choice?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you have done that differently?
A
And if I
different way. Yeah.
lost my temper disproportionately, which I will tell you happened
Yeah.
more often than some people have hot dinners,
Oh,
I
you're a
would come
redhead.
back and apologize and say, this is why I lost my temper. This is why you're still in trouble. But what I just did was not okay. And okay, so right. So my mom, and I was doing this when they were very small. I'm like, you have a choice. You can do this or
Mhm.
this. Both of them were the outcome that I wanted, but
Yeah. Control choices.
they chose how they got there. And my mom was like, why do you discuss things with them so much? And why do you just tell them? And I'm like, because I grew up in that house, mom.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Yeah.
like growing up feeling stupid. And I didn't like growing up feeling like I had no voice. And I didn't like growing
Mhm.
up, you blame me. No, I've turned out okay. You and I are still friends. Like, and my mom passed away 3 years ago, but until she died, best friend.
Mhm.
We had our moments. But when you start, like Maddie was saying, when you start those
Mhm.
conversations when they're little and you give them the information they need to process, why do I have to have a shower? Because certain parts of your body require cleaning. I'm not going to go into what those are because y'all know what they are, and they're involving your bits. Your bits cannot get gross
Yeah.
because that can make
Where
you
the sun don't
physically.
shine. Anywhere
What's
the sun
that?
don't shine. Anywhere
Where the
the
sun
sun don't
don't
shine.
shine. Front and back needs a thing. We used to call
Yeah.
it pits, tits, and bits. So if you can't afford the energy, the physical energy to have a shower, okay, compromise,
Mhm.
pits, tits, and bits. That means you find
Yeah.
whatever cleaning material works for you, whatever
Mhm.
soap adjacent thing works for you. You clean your pits, you clean your tits, you clean your bits. And that's for boys and girls. Okay.
Mhm.
Your
Yep.
junk has to get cleaned. Choice is for you. What's the cleaning material? What's the soap?
Mhm.
What's that? Like whatever choice you can give around that. But like
Yeah.
Maddie's just explained, the constraint and the boundary is it has to happen.
Yeah.
How you make it
And
happen, up to you.
yeah. One of the things that I think that parents would really gain from in prepping kids for puberty, especially girls, is
Well, that shit's messy,
before
man.
things before things happen to their body, let them understand and touch and feel the uh pads, tampons, all those things,
Oh, we're talking
so they're
anti-flow.
yeah, exactly, so that you're so
Anti-flow is
that
no fun.
you're one, yeah, I know, and it's an area that for autistic girls, like first of all, parents of autistic kids tend to have blinders on that their kids are going to experience puberty, that their kids have sexuality,
Uh-huh.
that all of these things. So they put their head in the ground like ostriches and hope that they can just like put their fingers in their ears and get move past, and their kids are going to be adults and they don't have to worry about that stuff. It's just I really I've gone to a lot of autistic puberty
And for context,
parents.
Maddie has
I
4 girls, 1 boy.
well,
He's
one
they're a girl
boy,
daddy.
3 girls, one non-binary child.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
you're
So
dealing with the
yeah,
issues that we're
I,
talking about with
yeah,
four
exactly.
individuals, however they figure it out.
Yeah. So again, there's health things, and then there's understanding your body, and those at puberty, and especially puberty in girls, this can be the hardest challenge because everything in your body has changed, and you can't
Uh-huh.
make heads or tails over anything, and there's things happening. So I think the best thing you can do for these girls is to prepare them with the touch and feel of the things that are going to use to help them, and getting them, before this happens, getting between 9 and 11 is when you really need to help girls master a hygiene routine that can be added onto as they experience puberty. Because if you
Anti-flow.
wait,
Anti-flow takes no
oh
prisoners,
my
man.
oh my God, yeah,
Anti-flow takes no prisoners. So everybody's going to
yeah.
go, I would, well, 98% of the population who is born genetically female is going to
Yeah,
experience. And
yeah,
I did math. I think I told you this the other day. So we had a weird conversation. I'm going to
as long
share
as
a
it
little
wasn't
bit of
meth,
you. What's that?
as
No
long as it
meth.
wasn't
Yeah, I
meth.
don't do that.
Okay, okay.
I am averse to hard drugs. I don't even like codeine. That's how sad I am. So,
You're breaking brackets, not breaking bad.
oh, sweetie, it's a good thing I love you. So
I know.
I was a late bloomer in that capacity, 14, right? So that's late on the charts.
Yeah.
I'm 52. And so, year wise, there's been a lot of them. And so I did the math a couple of years ago. Because
Uh-huh.
from my perspective, when you turn 50, if you're done having kids and everything's kosher, you should get a complimentary hysterectomy. Just take that shit out. I'm not going to do anything with it. Just right. So I did the math. 432 periods. Now,
Yeah.
I just did the math again, and that did not take into
Yeah,
account
you can account when you were pregnant.
two babies, right? Still
Yeah.
over 400.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
to understand that this is going to happen from whenever time it starts for a number of years. And I meet a lot of parents of newly diagnosed autistic kids.
Mhm.
And believe me when I say this, I get it. You get so caught up in what you are doing right now. Are
Yep.
you seeing the right doctor? Are you,
Mhm.
whatever therapy you are choosing for whatever you're
Yep.
dealing with, whatever behaviors you're managing?
Yep.
I get it.
Well,
You
yeah.
go from
Your whole
two,
support regime.
yeah, whatever, you're dealing with school, you're dealing with social,
Yeah.
I have been there, my friends. I
Mhm.
get it. I'm here to tell you with experience, as Maddie can, what you're dealing with at 2 will not be the same as what you deal with 7, is not the same as what you will deal with at
Mhm.
10. Sure as shit is not the same as what you're going to deal with at 14. And when they get to 18,
Oh my God.
it's a
Yeah.
whole different bottle of smell. So you can
Yeah.
control smell and hygiene at 2. You can control
Mhm.
smell and hygiene at 7. You can within reason, right? You should
Yeah.
be having the conversations between 2 and 7 around their involvement around their hygiene routine. Does the toothbrush hurt? Does the
Mhm.
toothbrush work? Is there any kind of dexterity issue that we're dealing
Mhm.
with? Okay, we need to find some accommodation for that. Is the toothpaste yucky? Quite frankly, whoever came up with bubblegum toothpaste should be shot. But it's disgusting.
It
But
really is. My
it's
daughter loves
just
it.
like the rudest stuff. But
Oh.
if bubblegum toothpaste will get your kid to brush their teeth,
Mhm.
bubblegum that shit up. Do what you got to do. Between 2 and 7, your child has enough reasoning power and understanding, regardless of diagnosis, to be involved in the conversations about their body. And that
Yeah.
comes out in important ways later on when they understand that if Uncle Jimmy tries to do something funny, it's my body.
Yeah.
And I have a voice about my body and I have input about my body. And that comes out in
Yeah.
other ways, positive ways for advocacy and what have
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Create that
It's
structure and routine, create it collaboratively
mm,
with boundaries. And by having those conversations between 2 and 7, when you're having the conversations between 7 and 12 and 12 and
mm,
17 and whatever, you've
yeah.
laid that foundation because the conversations are going to get more complex
Yeah.
around boys starting to
And
like
yeah.
girls. around
Exactly.
sexual identity, around gender identity, around girls liking boys, and what's acceptable behavior and what's not. And I don't mean to be sexist about that, but unfortunately, it's still societally true
Hmm.
that
Yep.
girls tend to get offended against way more than boys do. And if you have advocated with them and built those skills to understand their body, to understand that they have
Yeah.
a voice, to understand that they are in charge of what's going on,
Yeah.
when you get to the dating conversations,
The
is
groundwork's been laid.
where the conversation you've had around funk and junk and keeping things clean. I can't get a girlfriend. I can't get a boyfriend. You reek.
Well, yeah.
And that's not
Yeah.
a society thing. That's a person to person thing.
Yeah.
I don't like people's funk. I don't want
Yeah.
it. I'm not going to smell it. I'm not going to date you if you're funky.
No funky cold Medina.
My husband smells awesome. I'm telling you, it's the weirdest thing. He's got this little section of his neck where the pheromones come out, and I huff that like a drug addict. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Necks are awesome.
But
They're
when
awesome.
he's come home from work
Oh,
and he's got body funk, be like, you need to go clean that shit up. That's offensive.
yeah.
That's unpleasant.
It, and a big part of what we're just talking about, okay, it's important to allow the kids to say no
Yes.
so that you give them an opportunity to tell you what's behind the no.
Yes.
Because what's behind the no can be a
Is important.
multiple of things. But if you dismiss them and force them into a hygiene routine, that they may do it, but they're not. If they're not understanding, they're not getting it. They've been told no, they must do these things. Like it really applies in so many areas. And like what we really need, by working with kids, allowing them to say no, and helping them to how to express their needs. We're moving from this concept of kids that are compliant to kids that are cooperative, and that's really the thing
Oh,
that
that was good.
that's really the thing that we want with kids. We don't compliant kids get abused in some
Yes.
way somehow, but cooperative
100%.
kids are able to express themselves, able to start, finding ways of not applying.
Compliancy
What's the word?
can create
Yeah,
silence, and we don't want that. We
exactly.
want
And
we
we don't
want
want that.
cooperative,
Yeah.
because that translates. And plus, if you turn this into a battle at 7,
Hmm.
when the funk is minimal and they're
Hmm.
not so interested in relationships, and friendships are, our friendships are quite turbulent in those years. You haven't found your
Yeah.
lifelong tribe yet. You haven't found your whatever. You might. I still have a friend from when I was 2. Um, However, man, you don't want to be having that battle at 16,
Yeah. No,
because
you
now
don't.
they're big and they
Hmm.
got some weight behind them, and they've got some, fingers crossed your
Yeah.
kids end up taller than you. Like, I'm a shorty pants. So I, sincerely
Yeah.
hoped that both of my daughter did not.
I did not feel small until my first two kids got taller than me. My oldest daughter, I knew when she was 10 that by 12 she'd be taller than me, and she got on her 12th birthday she was half an inch taller than me, and now she's like me. And then
How
my
tall is
son, which she
Madeline?
was just under 6 feet. And
Get away.
I don't know whether my son Ashley, he's I think he's now at the same height or taller. So that like he's somewhere between 5'11" and 6'1". I
What
can't
do
quite
you
tell.
clock in at?
5'8.5". I'm 5'9"
You
on a
same,
good day.
well, you're same height as
That's
my
what I used to
husband.
say. Yeah, I know. It's like I honestly I was this height since 11 and a half. I grew 18 inches in a year.
Ouch.
And it just was, yeah, my body, I was in crutches because my legs locked, because it was just a crazy time. Puberty exploded on me. But I
On
went
you,
from
not
being the
with you.
runt to be the tallest kid in school. Like in grade 8, I was the tallest kid in school and the youngest kid in school. This is a grade 7, 8, and I'm a December kid.
With a
I
5 o'clock
skipped the
shadow.
grade. Oh yeah, exactly. I went from being the runt to being the almost adult looking. And so I thought of myself as tall. Like the doctor said, I'll probably end up being 6'2", 6'3", and then I stopped. It just there was like one burst. Hello, I'm a full blown
You
flower.
were full blown flower. Thanks, Bambi.
I went from bud to flower.
That's my son. They predicted 6'2", and for a variety of reasons. We are thrilled to bits and pieces that he's like between 5'11" and 6 foot. And that was just because we had to start him on a medication that could have negatively impacted his height. So that was a really big concern for a while. So what to wrap this up, because I think there's been some great stuff in this conversation, some reality checks, some understanding that your 2-year-old will turn into a 7-year-old, will turn into a smelly 18-year-old. And we are not asking you to die on the hill every day.
Yeah.
If you create routine, if you create conversation, if you reduce ego around parenting, and if you are, willing to collaborate with your kid, if you personalize it to know that you would not appreciate somebody telling you that you have to continue using a shampoo or body product that the smell offends you, like if you wouldn't appreciate it yourself, then don't inflict it on your kid. And they're not being difficult. Like, you're not being difficult when you choose your shampoo or your body thing. You are working on your personal preference. I just bought a new shower gel and it said citrus musk or something like that. And it's a strong smell. And I unfortunately bought 2 because they were on sale. It's not bad, but it's a stronger musky smell than I would like.
Yeah.
That's no different.
Yeah.
The process I'm going through with processing that smell and how it makes me feel, and does it invigorate me in the morning or does it whatever? If that is going to prevent your child or you as an individual from getting in the shower and do whatever, donate whatever's not working for you. And here's the other, some folks could be in the back, I can't afford it. I hear you. Yeah. Shit is expensive. I hear you.
Every
samples. But you know what? Here's the crazy thing. Dollarama. So we're in Ontario. I'm not sure if Dollarama goes across Canada or what have you. But dollar stores nowadays carry name brand hygiene products for a quarter of the price that they do in the grocery stores. I have seen families do their entire shop at a dollar store. Yeah. And I'm like, you are smart. So if you've purchased something for your child or for yourself that smell-wise or texture-wise isn't working for you, there are organizations you can donate that to. Please don't torture yourself trying to make it work, because it won't. You won't shower. You're going to end up with funky junk. You're going to end up with hygiene issues. It's not going to end well. Move on. Go where you can afford, right? Whether it's Walmart, whether it's Dollarama, whether it's Shoppers, like whatever works for you. Do that little, I sniff everything.
Yeah.
I'll put nothing on my body without it going past my nose first.
And gels are not all equal. One of the things that I've experienced recently is sometimes gels have little bits in them.
That's usually an exfoliant or a moisturizing bead or something goofy like that.
I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them.
Take a look at that, right?
So it's just patience.
Be aware. Yes, 100%.
If your kid, when your kid who was liking some part of their routine
suddenly becomes a little bit objectionable, there's something going on.
Right. Yeah. Be patient with them and try to tease what it is. Think sensory. Go through all of the senses, and
ask them.
Yeah. And exactly. Accept their no, and find the path to a new yes.
Yeah. And I found anyway with both of my kids, like I say, one's autistic, one's neurotypical, that conversation and collaboration. So we would go through the grocery store together and we would have, conversations about what we're going to get. They decided, I think they were like 9 and 10, that they had to have Scooby-Doo cereal. So my dad was vice president of purchasing for Kellogg's Salada. So I grew up with a lot of cereal.
Seriously.
We were the first family to try Kellogg's Honey Nut Cornflakes. So
that was my favorite as a kid.
They don't make it anymore.
Before nuts would kill me. Yeah.
Yeah. See, nuts kill me now too.
Yeah.
So, but we had those conversations. They decided they had to have this cereal, and we always had conversations about what was an acceptable junkie cereal and what was our regular cereal. They just both got on this bender. So I'm like, you're not going to like it. It's going to taste like caca and, yada, yada, yada. Oh, no, we'll love it. We'll love it. We'll love it, honey. I said, okay. Knowing how I'm like, all right, we're going to learn by experience. Pour them each a bowl. Put the cow juice on it when we were drinking cow juice. And 2 spoonfuls each. Mommy, this is gross. I'm like, yep. And trust me, my kids are stubborn enough that I did not predispose them or influence them or whatever. If they honestly liked it, they would have said, for them to admit that it was junk was a big deal. Because sometimes they get their stubbornness from their mother. They would just die on that hill and continue eating it just to prove me wrong or whatever. But both of them were like, it's really gross. Like, can we have some mini wheats? But
mini wheats, I love those as a kid too.
I used to love them too. They don't make any gluten-free ones, which is so poopy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But that collaboration and that conversation and allowing them to have some say over their cereal and allowing them to be involved in the hygiene. We buy all parabens, sulfate, whatever free product. My daughter now does that herself. My son, for winter, requires a little more intervention, but I took him to Shoppers, had him, no, that was a lie. I brought it home, but I kept the receipts. I said, I need to see if you can live with that. Like, is it a smell that you can live with, or you tell me? And he was fine with it. Because of his eczema, it flares in the winter and whatever. We need to adjust a little bit. Please try and listen to yourself. If something is itchy, tag, lotion, whatever, please don't force yourself to continue, but please don't abandon the process.
The routine. Yeah.
And the routine.
Yeah.
It requires
it
effort.
would be literally, since we're talking about hygiene, it would be throwing the baby out of the bath with the bath water.
Seriously. You got to get that one in there.
I had to get that one in there.
All right.
It sounds like
We're way over once again.
Sounds like it's time.
I'm wrapping it up.
All right.
Wrapping it up.
This is okay.
Go ahead, do it.
The logic is erotic. The potatoes in a jacket, the toys in the attic. I rap and I ramble. I rap and I ramble. My brain is scrambled. I rap like an animal, but I'm a mammal. Fern Gully. Robin Williams. Fern Gully animated show 30 years ago. Yeah, he did that right before Aladdin. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Maddie's gone off the deep end. So, oh man, you like dove both feet. Oh, good for you.
Yeah. Well, we were wrapping up.
We are wrapping up. We appreciate you joining us today. And I know we tend to go a little long, but that's just because the conversation goes the way the conversation goes. And much like constraints around bath routine, we try not to put a constraint around this because sometimes there's just such great stuff that comes out of it that we didn't anticipate. So we appreciate you hanging in. No idea what we're talking about next because we haven't done the calendar for the next couple of months, but it'll be something good.
Yeah.
And we will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Toodles.
So long.
Thank you for joining us on Across the Desk and our new series, The Autistic Rambler. Please visit spirocareerscanada.ca to learn more about the tools we're building with the autism community, and please visit theautisticrambler.com to learn more about Maddie Dever.